Hi, everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors Podcast, and this is episode number 84. Looking to score in Self-Tape May, 16 tapes in the month of May with the hashtag Self-Tape May. This episode, we are titling The Humility of Learning with the beautiful, wonderful, brilliant Self-Tape May queen herself, Amber Stonebraker. Pew, pew, pew! Amber Stonebraker. She has completed all 3 previous years, and she is out to complete her 4th. And I just think she is such an incredible inspiration. She is an LA-based actress and voiceover artist. She is booking like crazy town, and she's also a smaller market to larger market success story. So if you are in a smaller market and you are thinking about making the move to Los Angeles, she is a really great example of how to do it properly, expectations to have, and the work you need to put in to then be making that fat cash, which is what she's doing. I'm so proud of her. In this episode, we discussed all of her Self-Tape May strategies that have led to a 300% increase in quality auditions and an astronomically larger increase in money from her acting. Like the money she has been making from what she was making pre-doing Self-Tape May to now is astronomical. I'm so proud of her. We talk about how to tame your inner diva and show up to do the work. She talks really candidly about, having to eat some humble pie and take a look at herself and realize that there's work to do and that the work is the thing to be loved and to be focused on, not the ego. And I really love that conversation. We talk about brand recognition, changing your look, and how that can really change your casting and change really all of your results if you go about it the right way. Strategies for booking your first co-star, which she did. And I just love it. Okay, so it is Self-Tape May starting next week. Self-Tape May. 16 tapes. Selftapemay.com, selftapemay.com, all done in the month of May. Can you do it? It's free. It's 1000% free. I love you. It's free. Listen, it's just really so important to me that access to information and practice be free. I love free. It's my favorite price. I love free so much. Okay, so you sign up for free, and signing up is going to give you free access to something special this year. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a leaderboard. Shout out to Wes. You'll never listen to this podcast, but we have friends and they do free things for us. And they made a leaderboard for us. Thanks, Wes. This year, you'll be able to share how many tapes you've done and see how everyone else is doing in real time. I think that's very cool. You can even narrow it down to see people who are in your market, people who've done the challenge before. So if you've done 3 years and you want to see who else is completing 3 years, OMG, you get to get into a little competition, maybe cheerleading sesh/competition. That's my favorite kind. And signing up is also going to give you free access to be eligible for this year's prize package. Pew, pew, we're doing a prize package. How great is it to sign up for something for free and then get a prize package? I'm about it. One lucky winner who finishes 16 self-tapes this year will win an incredible prize package from our fabulous self-tape-based sponsors. Pew, pew, pew. The winner will get 1 free year subscription to We Audition, 1 year of castability credits, and a premium membership to casting networks. And to top it all up, as always, every year, you'll get to be on an episode of the podcast. Boo, boo. Oh my God, that's so amazing. I can't wait to be on your podcast. Woo-hoo! So visit selftapemay.com to sign up while you're there for free. It's all free. And while you're there, you can find some resources to get sides, readers, and even a real audition. That's my favorite thing. All right, you guys, more reviews. You guys, the baby is on his Is it his? There. I feel like let's be gender non-binary, right? The baby is on their first vacation, sipping a little baby virgin daiquiri in the tropical beach of your reviews. Very well written, honey. That was very special. Couldn't have improvised it better myself. That baby is like, oh my goodness, I love it here on this tropical island. And I just am so basking in the glow of all of that sweet, sweet validation that you are sending Audrey via your podcast reviews. Shout out to Jo Marie Lawrence, James Foyer. I really appreciate it, James, for you telling me how to say the last name because I want you to know I would not have said that correctly. Krusty's Crab Shack, Zoe or Zoe, who knows, Walpole, Singing Beauty, Romer D, Alphaholic, Rose Ashay, Richard Randall, and Liz Kosher. You guys, your reviews are like twice baked potato skins dipped in ranch, dipped in barbecue sauce, straight out of the fryer. That's how much your reviews mean to me. So thank you so much. Okay, we've made it easier to rate the podcast. Just go to ratethispodcast.com/Audrey. That's ratethispodcast.com/Audrey on your phone or wherever you're listening to this. ratethispodcast.com/Audrey. All right, everybody. I hope you're on your way to a live in-person audition. I've had a few, and they have been the most fun. I've been hugging casting directors. Shout out to Arlene Schuster. Arlene Schuster, it was really great to see you, girl. And I can't wait for you to get back so we can do lunch. All right. Book it! Book it. Audrey helps actors because they don't know anything. Hi, everybody. I'm Audrey Moore with Audrey Helps Actors Podcast, and today we have...
Amber Stonebraker.
I don't know why it just made me lose my breath. I'm here.
It is a stunning last name.
It's literally took my breath away with the stone breaking that it does.
Yes.
Hi, girl. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. It's so good to be here.
Yay, I'm so excited. I'm doing a few episodes this season of people who have done multiple years of Self-Tape May. And since you were an OG season 1 participant in the first round and have been completing them every year since, there's only 16 of you guys. I mean, it's really fantastic. And I'm really excited to talk about the growth you've seen both in your career, in your technique, in your audition process, in your life in the last several years. And I would love for us to talk about how your self-tape practice and moving to Los Angeles and all of the things that you've done have contributed. But I'm sort of titling this episode, The Humility of Learning, because one of the things that I found so beautiful about your point of view. We first met right after Self-Tape May, round 1, and you said something to me that I thought was so awesome. I don't think I've ever told you this before, but it was so great. You had just moved from Portland, and I said, why did you move from Portland? Why are you in Los Angeles? And you said, I just decided that if I was going to get better, I needed to be where the teachers were that could get me better. Mm-hmm. And they were here. And I needed to go be with them. And I remember thinking, what a remarkably beautiful and humble, intelligent approach that is.
And
thank you. You're welcome. It's just really smart because I think a lot of people get to LA because they're just make me famous, and myself included, everyone. So no judgment, right?
Right?
I thought it was so mature to come to a place where you realize creatively and artistically your dreams were bigger than your larger market, but also that the capacity to grow you in terms of what was available to you in the smaller market was also capped out. And so you needed to go and get better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I really want to talk about this really beautiful, humble attitude I think you've had, which has kept you open and kept you growing and kept, to me, such a delight and an asset as you continue to grow on your journey. Before we do that, let's just tell everyone a little bit. I like to start with landscape.
Yes.
So tell everyone about your landscape. How are you fully repped? Are you union? How often are you auditioning? What are you auditioning for?
Yes. So I am union. I just joined the union in December of last year.
Woo woo.
So I've been union all year long.
Yay.
So that's been exciting. I am almost fully repped. I've got a manager, a great manager. I've got a commercial agent, a voiceover agent. I just didn't re-sign with my theatrical agent. It wasn't a great fit. I got maybe like one audition from them last year. So while my manager is out there getting me like,
Hustling.
for a month and in the market for a new theatrical agent. And then I'm repped in Portland, as you know.
Yes.
As far as my stats, this year has been a little bit different than my previous years because I've been SAG. So commercially, I'm doing maybe like one audition a month, where maybe I used to be doing 4 to 8 a month. But of those 4, I tend to get maybe half of those will get a call back. And then I had one booking last year, but it was a good booking. It was a really good one, which led to like 3 different commercials that were shot all over the world, which was super cool.
Great.
And then theatrically, I get about 4 auditions a month. And I would say about 75% of those are like recognizable TV shows, which is great. It's amazing. And then I've booked 4 theatrical things, 3 of those being recognizable TV.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So how many, and we'll just say like in 2021, what would you say your 2021 television actual auditions are? Are we talking like 40, 60? What do you think?
No, well, yeah, actually, maybe
40,
like
right?
30 to 40.
Right. And of those 30 to 40, you booked 3 of them. I mean, those are really great statistics. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not what I'm used to, but again, I'm used to non-union, so I'm really happy with it. I'm really, really happy. My first year in the union, hell yeah, I'll take 3.
I mean, I have to say, your first year in the union, you booked a campaign.
Yeah.
Actually, you booked a multi-international campaign with a celebrity as your partner.
Yeah.
And you traveled the world to do it. And it aired all 3 of them aired very well.
Yes.
And you booked 3 television you booked 3 television recognizable shows. And some of them have aired, some of them have not. You are auditioning theatrically like 3 to 4 times a month compared to season 1 when you began this journey, where you were auditioning, I would say, for some non-union commercials, but you weren't auditioning, I believe, theatrically at all. And
if it was just like random
twice a year
indies and not very much. Yeah,
exactly. And so to increase to about 40 over the last 3 years means you've increased about 800% in the last 3 years.
So yeah, I mean, that's not bad. When you say it like that, that's not bad.
And increasing also in terms of actual monies earned through this career. I mean, the year that you did Self-Tape May season 1, off of the non-union commercials, how much would you say you made in a year?
Just off of acting commercially?
Just off of acting, or even just acting generally, like in a year?
Probably $7,000, maybe.
Right. $7,000. And I'm going to wager, because I know what you shot, you probably made $7,000 just in the filming of the most recent commercials by traveling to these locations, being put up, then filming, and then coming back.
Way more than that. And I'm not even talking like residuals.
And not even residuals.
Not even residuals.
So just in the filming of these commercials. And so we're not going to tell people how much you're making on these commercials. It's none of their fucking business. But let's just say, for, fuck's sake, like, let's say that you went from making $7,000 a year off of acting to, let's just say, even if it was just $40,000 a year in commercials. I mean, that's math. Jesse will do the math, but that's hundreds of percentage of an increase.
But wait, Audrey, wait. I have to interrupt you. That is a 471% increase.
In terms of actual income made.
And that's a very low number compared to what I actually made.
What
but
you
we don't need
actually
to
made.
Talk about it.
That's it. It's none of their business.
No.
But, so even if it was just that low number, which it's more than, right, you would still already be so many hundreds of percentage above what you are making.
Yes.
And so I'd really like to talk about that increase, because if you stayed on this trajectory, even if you had like a low year 1 year, right? But if you stayed on this trajectory and your income increased, let's say 800% over the next 3 years from what you made this last year, that'd be pretty fucking great.
It'd
right?
be real pretty. Yeah.
And if your bookings and we'll even say not necessarily number of auditions, but let's just say your quality of bookings theatrically, if you went from increasing your theatrical, let's say quality bookings, meaning let's say you're booking co-stars, you're getting paid $1,100 a day, maybe you're shooting 4 or 5 days a year, so you're making, $5,000 theatrically. And let's just say if we were going to multiply that by 800% theatrically over the next several years, or in the next 3 years, that would also be like pretty freaking great.
3,500 or
35,000.
Yeah.
Right?
That'd be wonderful.
That wouldn't be so bad. And to cap it off, what people don't realize is the difference in residual models. When you work commercially, you do a commercial and then you get those residuals within that year usually. And then it's done. Theatrically, on the other hand, if you make $35,000 theatrically, you will continue to see a sizable portion of that will continue to buffer you in residuals for the rest of your life.
You are just really putting me in a great mood, Audrey. You're just making my day right now. This is great news.
I just want you and everyone listening because I know what happens is like things get normalized really fast. Like you are auditioning you go from a non-union world where you're auditioning X amount of time, but you're making $7,000 max, right?
Yeah.
To auditioning less, but making hundreds of percentages more in that year than the auditions that you have.
It's
right?
So true. It can get so discouraging not auditioning as much. But then, yes, you look at that, you look at the numbers and the return, and you can't even compare the two. So
you can't, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, the quality of the work, the footage, the relationships that you're getting is leveling up. And instead of spending that time going and doing these non-union auditions, you're now spending that time sitting back and earning the money, and you can take that money through the residual income of so many hundreds of percentages more, and you can actually put that money to help you grow where you want to grow, which is in the theatrical area.
Right.
So instead of spending 2-3 hours a week on non-union auditions that are not going to pay you, you will not be auditioning as much in a week, but you can spend those 2-3 hours a week instead working on your theatrical craft and relationships and execution and materials.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And then you have what is my favorite word, which is infrastructure of time, energy, and money to continue the proper growth of your career and the direction you want to grow in.
Yes. Because of this Expedia. Oh, am I allowed to say that? Yeah.
Oh, please.
It's out there.
It's out there.
People know.
I want to be like, what?
Because of this commercial, I was able to stop waiting tables, which is amazing. And I've really been able to focus almost all of my time and energy on taking classes and taking workshops and casting director, this and that. And, I haven't done as much filming on my own as I would like. I've done a lot of self-tape practice, but I'm really bad at like getting a group of people together and just filming a thing, It's
also fucking hard. We're in a pandemic.
Right. We're in a pandemic, and I'm also a perfectionist, and I want it to look good. So like I need, a really good camera guy. I need really good writing, so I'm such a perfectionist, but I am going to be shooting something next month that I'm really excited about because of my reel. I mean, if you look at my theatrical reel, I look like a completely different human being.
Yeah. It's one of the things I had for us to talk about in terms of your materials.
Yeah, it's not even me anymore. Because pandemic and because all the things that I shot this year are not out yet. And I can't, quite edit my reel together yet, but it's coming. Yeah.
Love that. I just love that. So now talk to everybody about this self-tape practice and if at all and how. First of all, before we start this, okay, because I know people are going to Google you and they're going to be like, well, of course she's working so much. She's gorgeous and super fucking cool. So I just want to to everyone who has these thoughts, because I just want to normalize it. I want to say that it is super normal for everyone that is in one category to look at somebody in a different category and say to themselves, well, of course they're working so much. They're not in my category. But my category is the fucked category. And I want you to know I am friends with all of the beautiful, charming, magical little elves like you. And all of them have the narrative of, oh, well, there's less parts for me and there's less stuff for me because, as Kate Siegel said so beautifully in her episode together, that there is usually one leading lady and then there are multiple ladies around them. You have a whole ensemble of ladies around them. I just want everyone, whatever that narrative is, it's okay. I'm okay with everybody having that narrative. I just want to calm it down. And I want to also counteract that narrative with the work, because I want to talk about how you just fucking do the work. And it makes me so happy. One of the things that you did, in addition to self-taping, is you spent a lot of time getting coached getting coached individually and learning about material and learning about tone and learning about story. Story. And you worked a lot on just your understanding of that side of it, which is only helpful for auditions. And again, the humility of learning. You were like, I'm just going to figure it out. I don't know it yet, but I'm going to go. I can see it's important.
Yeah.
And I need to figure it out. So tell everyone about your journey of the self-tape May practice, your self-tape practice outside of self-tape May, and also individual coaching and story. And if at all, that has had any impact on this increase that we see in terms of your numbers.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah. First of all, it's just so important to let ego go. And that is something that I've struggled with in my younger years. And because I struggled with it so hard, I've really doubled down on it in my recent years. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but we're not going to talk about that.
Let me ask you this. What did it look like to struggle with it so people maybe listening can identify? How did it manifest itself?
Gosh, here we go, Audrey. Back in college. So I have a degree in theater. And if you were to ask college Amber this, she would absolutely fight you on it. But she was a bit of a diva. She really was. She thought she was the shit. She kept getting really good roles. And so, she just kind of thought that the world maybe owed her things because she was so talented and whatever. And it took me many years of learning about myself and therapy to realize, oh my God, I was a diva. I was a total bitch. I was. Oh my God. It's horrible. I would not be friends with college Amber. She was not nice. So having bad experiences there and sort of losing friendships and having cast members who just didn't like me. I had a diva list written about me that got passed around the cast that literally said, you're a diva when, and it was like a checklist of all the things that I had done, like showing up late to rehearsal, not being there for the understudies. And the moment I didn't think that I had done any of those things. Looking back, I probably was, and it's fine. It was really jarring. And I went through some really terrible times back in college with just personal relationships and whatever. So now I'm in this place of definitely humility, definitely showing up in a way of how can I help, How can
be of service?
Be of service, 100% be of service. One of the best classes I ever took was with this man, Bill Coleus. He is literally in everything. He's in every show. He's in every commercial. He books all the time. And his whole thing is just showing up to each audition with the mindset of being of service and how can I help?
It's so brilliant.
It's a game changer. And,
it's also how you gain value, I have to say, sitting on the other side of it as well. Like I'm friends with so many creatives, and I've watched things from the audition process to the filming process to the editing process, and people who come at it with a sense of like, you're creating something that's so much bigger than just what I'm bringing to the table.
Yes.
How can I help what you are creating be its fullest?
Yes. And I knew that my talents weren't up to par anymore. I mean,
How did you know that? How did you know that? Because nobody knows that. So how did you know that?
I would watch TV and I would look at what they were doing, and then I would try to do the same thing. Like I would put a scene up, I would do a self-tape and try to do a better job. And I'm like, these people are just so much better than me. And I don't know why. And not that I didn't have great teachers in Portland, because I did. And I was working all the time in Portland. But as you know, working and booking in Los Angeles is a completely different ballgame. I mean, it is the Olympics. It was just incredibly, incredibly humbling seeing all these talented people around me and not even knowing what I was doing wrong or how to fix it. And I started listening to your podcast and I'm like, oh, story? What? And just all these other kind of holes that I had to fill in that I'm still working on filling in, or unless you get really specific about the things that you need to work on. And mindful practice, making sure that you're hiring people who are specifically getting you better at those things that you need work on.
Tell everybody about that, because as you know, I talk about it in the podcast all the time. I'm such a big fan of, I like, one analogy that I love is it's like going from being a prima ballerina at like the New York City Ballet or the ABT and then becoming an ice skater. Being an ABT ballerina is amazing and the top of the top. And all of the best ice skaters also are taking 4 hours of ballet a day because they need their lines, they need their balance. It's a lot of the same skills.
Right.
But if you're trying to transition from being an ABT ballerina to an Olympic ice skater, you have somebody who knows how to put you on the ice.
Right.
Like you don't go work with your ABT teacher to then become a great Olympic skater.
Correct.
And ideally, you wouldn't just work with somebody who knows how to put you on the ice. The best fit is somebody who has a proven track record in taking people from the ABT or like programs and turning those specific people into Olympic ice skaters.
Correct. That's why I got so much direction from your podcast, is because you've done this. I think when I first started listening to you, you were maybe here for 8 years or something like that. So you have done it. You have done the research. You know the people who are good at coaching this or that. And like I went out and I found my own coaching people sometimes, but like I went to Mike Horton, who you have on your website. He was amazing. He helped me with story and with breaking down a scene and just all of these things that he laid out for me in a way that's never been laid out for me before. I went and I worked with Greg Saffel for my voice. He's amazing. I freaking love him. I stopped going because of my health issues that I went through, but I need to go back because I can tell. I'm like, my voice is getting back into that icky high register that I don't want. And I need to go back, but just getting specific about the type of training that I need right now for the kinds of roles that I want right now and really honing in on that. It's all about specificity.
It is. It's like a laser focus, right?
Yes.
And the more you zone in on the thing you're looking for, the more information you get, and the more you zone in on it, and then the more information you get, and the more you zone in on it.
Right.
Because as you get to another level, you see how much more there is to go, and that the refinement gets more apparent for this next level. And you get through that level, and then you're like, oh, more refinement. And that is my favorite thing of all, because that is what mastery is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But wait, Amber, you little kitten, fairy, minx, witch goddess. Wait, I have to interrupt you.
Help me. I need some help.
And now it's time for listener questions.
I'm so scared.
This listener question is brought to you by castability.actor. That's castability.actor. It was very important to me for Self-Tape May that we have somebody providing sides for everybody. Some sides that you could work on, that you could post, that you could have access to. If you download the Castability app, you get 20 sides emailed to you for free within 24 hours. So it'd be a really great idea for you to go on to castability.actor or go to your app store and download the Castability app, sign up, and get your Castability sides email so that you can start looking through them and deciding which ones you want to start with. You know, maybe these ones feel like really easy. These ones feel exciting. These ones feel really hard. Just start reading through them and getting them under your belt because you got to get ready. Get ready. It's coming. Castability.actor for 20 free sides when you sign up with the app. Please call 667-ACTOR-70. That's 667-ACTOR-70 for all your listener question needs. You guys, I really love your listener questions. Please call them in.
Hi, Audrey. This is Jeff Friedman listening in Los Angeles. Thank you so much for your amazing podcast and existence. I wanted to ask about glasses. I was wondering how glasses work when an actor gets to set in terms of, do they use the glasses that they always wear? Is that something that somehow wardrobe does? And for self-tapes, too, I'm really curious about minimizing glare on my glasses. So I've tried different kinds of lenses and even some different frame shapes, but, you know, there always is some glare. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it so my eyes are as visible as possible in self-tapes, and hopefully, fingers crossed, once I get to set as well. In my experience, using anti-glare lenses helps, but it still reflects greenish, yellowish light, and I'm trying to minimize that. Thanks so much. Take care.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks so much for this question. I love glasses. I am a glasses wearer. This is also part of why I did get contact lenses. I have both glasses and contact lenses. Now, not everyone can do contact lenses for all kinds of reasons. So this is not obviously a completely unheard of thing. Lots of people have been wearing glasses long before contact lenses were sort of so mainstream. But you're right, there is a glare. I find that the glare is biggest on a ring light. That's part of why I personally have switched to softboxes. The problem with softboxes is that they take up a lot of room. So if you're using a ring light, Jesse is going to come over and let you know about light tips. In terms of being on set, there are a few things. So if you wear glasses, definitely when you book the job, you want to get the contact info for wardrobe and let wardrobe know that you wear glasses. You wear glasses in your audition. And if you have glasses options, I have a lot of glasses options. I bring all of my glasses on the first day of shooting. And I actually go up to the director and I say, hey, so I wear glasses. I don't know if that's something that you would like in this scene or for this character. I wore them in the audition, or I would say, I know I didn't wear them in the audition. I do have contact lenses, but these are my glasses options. And almost always they pick my glasses. So I recommend to have many pairs. If you book period stuff, have many pairs that are of many different time periods and have them with you when you get to set. And definitely, call wardrobe and let them know. And they will go ahead and, shoot it up the chain. And it's not a problem. Once you get a professional lighting crew on set, that's their job. Their job is to manage the glare. When you're doing a self-tape, it's a little bit harder.
Hey there, Jeff. So as far as getting glare out of your glasses during a self-tape, the main reason you'll usually get that is because the light you're using is often right next to the camera, and it's pointing directly at you. So if that's the case for you, you'll want to raise your light a little bit and just move it off to the side a few feet so that it's not right next to the camera, and angle it down so that it's still pointing at you. Now, what this will do is it should get rid of most of the glare, but the other side of your face will become a little darker. And so in order to counteract that, you'll want to do the same thing on the other side with another light, or maybe like a big white foam board or a sheet or something like that. Something to bounce the light onto the other side of your face. Now, if the glare that you're catching in your glasses isn't from the light that you've set up, maybe it's a mirror or a window or something like that, honestly, you'll just probably have to cover those. So you'll want to just like throw a blanket over it or something like that, something so that it's not reflecting off of your glasses. And just know when you're trying all of these solutions that it may not work right away because, light is a tricky thing. And if you're not used to working with it, it takes a little bit to figure it all out. So you may have to try a few different ways, maybe try lifting the light up a little higher or pushing it a little farther away, bringing it in a little closer to yourself sometimes helps. But just know that cinematographers and gaffers and people who work with light study it for years, and they still come up with problems on set like this. So don't beat yourself up if it's not working right away. Just keep experimenting with these tricks and you'll find something that works. All right. I hope that helps.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
So when I first started doing self-tape May, I had like my long dark hair, I looked a certain way, and I would go into these casting director workshops, and I'm a total weirdo. I'm a total nerd. I'm really like off the wall and goofy, but I guess you wouldn't know that by looking at me. And the way that I had styled myself or whatever. So I would get to these workshops, throw up a scene that was like really bananas. Like I did one from Love, not the main character, but like her roommate, the really weird, like one of the funniest actresses in the entire world. I did a scene of hers where she talks about like cutting up a rabbit and putting it in a plastic bag. I don't know. It was really weird.
Yeah.
But the casting director was like, so that was unexpected. I mean, it wasn't a bad scene. Like the whole class laughed. Like it was great.
Yeah.
She's like, I didn't know how to take that from you. Like you getting up there, that is not what I expected. And so like, I'm a little like, I don't know what to do with you. And that was really like, holy shit. That was like a mind opening moment for me where I'm like, I don't look like my casting in my head.
Yes.
So, it was pretty soon after that, I just chopped off all my hair.
I was going to say, so let's talk about the chopping of the hair, because so she had this look. If you guys go back and look at her stuff, she literally looked like a stand-in for Zooey Deschanel. And it was, and Zoe got cast as the new girl, is super weird, awkward, all those things, nerdy pie. But after like 10 years of being a pixie moon goddess.
Right. Exactly.
And then you sort of arrived kind of just like a few years after New Girl had hit. And so everyone really had that in their head, I think, in looking at you. They couldn't not see that.
Yes, it was very annoying.
It was, right?
Yes.
And because then it also sucks because it's like, what, I have to fucking cut my hair so I don't look exactly like this fucking person? Fuck you guys, have some fucking imagination. Like,
yeah, I know.
I get it, but also I just want everyone to understand brand recognition and like marketing, because if you are going to sell, let's say, a skirt, and you're going to sell skirts that look exactly like things that are made out of Theory, but your skirts are different. They're made out of different fabric. They fit different. You have different fit models for the skirt. People are still going to look at it and think, oh, that's a skirt from Theory. And they're going to have an expectation that it's going to fit and feel the same way that a Theory skirt is. And that's not fair. But Theory got there first. And so you got to figure out how you're going to sell your skirts differently.
Right. Yeah. And that has been a process.
Yeah.
But
because it took you like a year. I know you were thinking about cutting your hair.
Yeah, it did. And it took me a while. I think my first two self-tape Mays, I had the long, dark hair. And
well, you had long for the first one, and then I think you chopped it to like shoulder or something for the second one.
That's right. And I didn't have much more luck with that. And then I booked an indie feature that, of course, isn't going anywhere. But they wanted me to cut my hair, and I I leaned into it and I just went, pixie short, and it was jarring. But after that, I mean, my booking rate just
Went
rocketed.
sky high.
And that's how I joined the union. That's how, I've booked all of the things since the short hair, which is crazy.
I feel strongly that somebody in your life told you, like right after Self-Tape May 1, to cut your hair pixie short.
I probably.
I feel like that person was me.
Oh my God, was he? I don't remember that.
I remember
God.
somebody else even cutting their hair pixie short on Instagram, and you were like, me next.
Oh.
And then you took like a year. And I was like, okay. And then you cut it short, and then you booked all of these jobs. And here's what I really hope people get is that it's not just about cutting your hair short, right? So let's talk about the cutting your hair short was kind of a symptom of a few things, one of which was that you looked a certain way, so people had an expectation of who you're going to be coming in, right?
Which didn't match what I was bringing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we all have to sort of, not all of us, a lot of us have to go through that. We have to understand, like, what is the thing that we're excited by, and then what is the package externally that's going with that, and do the two fit at all? Yeah. And then another thing is you have this fantastic face, and I do know that because few people have the fucking balls to get their hair cut pixie short, that it does stand out, particularly commercials. When you start getting your co-star casting, it does say, it pops a little bit. So do you know about that? And if so, what do you know about that now, standing where you're at?
I don't know exactly how it pops, but I think it's just another example of it being more specific. And I think it fits in with a cast better because you're most likely not going to look like one of the main characters.
Yeah.
You're not going to be, they're not going to be like, oh, well, we really liked Amber's tape, but she looks so much like this other character that we don't, whatever.
And don't you think that was a lot of what you were experiencing, that you just like looked like all the leads?
Yes. It was a lot of what I was experiencing. And I wanted, everybody wants to be a lead, right? And so I had that hair for like ever, thinking like, I'm going to move to Hollywood and they're going to cast me as all the leads because I've got this beautiful hair. And that's not how it works. And I'm getting comfortable in my co-star land right now and building up my credits, hopefully to get into guest star land. And then, who knows, maybe in a while I can grow out my hair and look like other people, but anything to set me apart right now has really been working for me. So I'm going to keep doing that.
I love this choice too, because as you can hear from so many of the people we've had on the podcast, so many people have come to this realization. And I talk about it a lot because I went through a similar journey where I had this sort of normal Audrey sort of look. Then I had to do some weird stuff to my hair because I needed to fit in a little differently. And it is similarly, once I got my hair cut, a really strange haircut, you guys.
Like that triangle one?
The triangle haircut.
That was the best thing I've ever seen. The balls, Audrey, to get that haircut.
I was like, I want my bangs crooked and I want my triangle haircut to be just a slight lopsided. But it was so charming and so fun. And the best thing was it wasn't permanent. And I started getting some traction. And through that traction, I then grew it out for the larger roles. That did end up being something I needed to do to grow further. But I think people are so scared to make those choices, like, and then I'm there forever. And it's like, I'm just here to let everyone know
it grows.
Not true. It grows. Your career will grow and your hair will grow.
I even panicked. I got a wig. I got a real hair wig that looked like my old hair. I'm like, just in case something happens.
JIC.
And I've never used that freaking wig. I think I used it for one audition and I got nothing from it. So
yeah. I'd love to take a second for everyone too and talk about co-stars and the purpose and why this look I think is really helpful. And so everyone can sort of understand what may work for them is that co-stars are so much about either like blending or popping. And so some people are supposed to come in and be like, hey, here's your coffee and I'm gone.
Yeah.
And I don't want to look at them. I don't want to think about them. I don't want to focus on them. They're really there to sort of show up and be forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be challenging because how do you make a lot of people book a lot as those co-stars, but how do you make yourself stand out as a casting that is forgettable?
Oh, interesting. That's really
Right?
interesting. Yeah.
So it's a challenging conundrum. And a lot of that is to do with relationships and all those sorts of things. But if you're supposed to be like, the president is calling and then leave, right? And it's all, you're here just because it's more interesting for you to come in and say the president is calling than it is to get a little beep on their phone that says, sir, we have the president calling on the line. You know, it's like somebody comes in, staff, and sets up, the person has staff, and they say the president is calling, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to think about them later.
Right.
I don't want to worry about them. They're not a part of the story. They're really just here because it's a little more interesting and sets that character up as somebody important because they have staff who will tell them that the president is calling, right?
Right.
Then you have a co-star that is really more to stand up. And this is kind of like art department that tells us something about the scene. So if we're doing a scene from Entourage and they go to a party and you have a bunch of women my age and who look like me are all the women at the party at Entourage, that says something about the party they've walked into.
Right.
It's like, why are we at this party? And maybe it's an industry party of some people who are not super thrilled to see the Entourage gang, and they have to sort of play a different card than they've been playing the whole time. Right? So it's going to tell us about the kind of party they've landed at. But if we have a bunch of women that look like you at the Entourage party, then that's a different kind of party.
Right.
Now it tells us it's something cooler, it's something metropolitan, maybe something more artsy, something more visually interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it tells us it's that kind of party.
Yes.
And if you have somebody that looks like a bunch of 23-year-old Eastern European models with long hair down to their butts and wearing very tight dresses. Okay, well, now it's that kind of party. And all of us could show up and say, do you want to get me a drink? And it's not about me saying, do you want to get me a drink? It's about the co-star telling the audience, this is the kind of party they're at.
Yeah, painting that picture. Yeah, the last role that I booked was actually sort of that. It was a high-end restaurant that was like ridiculously snooty and, and I had to say all these ridiculous words about what was in this dish, and I got to wear this super cool dress, so it was about painting that picture of that establishment being super snooty and high-end.
And can you tell that if you were to cast me in that role, it would be a different story.
100%. Yeah.
Right? And it's not that it couldn't work or we couldn't find a way to make it work.
You might have to just try a little harder.
But you'd have to try a little harder. And does anyone want to try hard when they're working with the co-stars?
No.
God, no.
No, they don't.
They just want to come in, put them in a wardrobe and throw them on and say goodbye to them.
Yep.
Right?
Pick them up out of their audition and just drop them right in the scene. Call it good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so I think this is such a great clarification for people so that everyone doesn't go, God, I just have to like cut my hair short and start being this thing. It's like, no, your casting may not be person that stands out. Your casting may be person who blends. My larger role casting is very much person who blends.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's something about them that then stands out.
Right.
So if you look at a lot of my roles over the last several years, she's a part of the group and she just seems like, oh, just another person walking in. But surprise, she's an addict. Surprise, she killed somebody. Surprise, she's taking over, right?
Right.
And so that I have this turn of being the every woman who then, because she's so unassuming,
really surprises you.
Really surprises you in another way.
It's so great. Such a great casting. How fun.
Thank you. So much fun.
You went
it is
dope
so much
sick.
fun.
I had tears. It was,
thank you, my
you were
love.
so good. We don't.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you so much. But that's a great example of like, she's just supposed to be unassuming, kind of blend and be good at her job.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Except she's not. Right.
Right.
And that's important to that story is that it's about that anyone can become an addict.
Right.
That it's not like, quote unquote, the bad people that are addicts, but like that the drug itself
This sweet
creates
secretary woman can
Right.
just
turn
Mhm.
because of this drug.
Right.
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 And so you have all of us in the ways that our bodies and voices tell stories, and also at different size roles.
Mhm. Definitely.
And it is challenging because a lot of people do have casting that blends. And I hate to tell some people, but no matter how much some people try to make themselves stand out, they're still going to have a casting that kind of blends. And that just is what it is. And that is a particularly challenging conundrum if you're trying to get people to notice you and see your value, if the value is that you blend into the group.
Yeah.
And, something for everyone to think about and just consider solving. So tell me, in terms of this self-tape practice and watching your tapes, how did that, if at all, help you learn about your casting and your type?
Well, I definitely got a lot of feedback. I love the self-tape May crew. Like, everyone is just so
good, right?
supportive. Oh my God. So great. Like, I made some real life friends. Like it's incredible. But some of the feedback that I would get, I would be like, that's an interesting comment and not really what I was going for. And just the more self-tapes that I watched from other people, the more I started thinking to myself, like, oh, that's actually a scene that would be really good for me, or, oh, that's really interesting on her. It wouldn't look great on me, but I love it on her. Just the sheer volume of self-tapes that I watched, not just from myself, but just from everybody else, you get sort of a more specific kind of clarity about
like a radar, right?
Yeah. I would steal scenes from other people and then do them myself. And sometimes they would work and sometimes they didn't, but it's just the sheer volume of it. And, if you have any sort of taste at all, what is that they say, the gap between your taste and your talent, you know what that gap is. It's like, this is where I want to be. This is what I know good talent is. And this is where I am over here. And that's okay. We'll get there eventually. But the more and more you do it, the more your taste starts aligning a little bit with your talent. So it was really a sheer volume of it. The more auditions that I was getting from my manager or my agents or whatever, I would do more research about that. Like, oh, I'm getting called in for a lot of military roles. Oh, I'm getting called in for a lot of sort of bitchy roles. Okay, I'm going to try to incorporate more things like that into my self-tape practice and see how they feel on me.
I love this so much because what you're talking about is the refining process, which is how you get more specific and you take the feedback and you experiment with it and then you go forward. I remember realizing I'm just like, if it's period, I'm almost always booking it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, why is that?
Yeah.
And also, I don't even have to know why it is. I just had to then build on what was working, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Or nobody's casting me for bitchy. Why is that? What is that about? Okay, well, then I need to stop having headshots where I look like an ice queen, because then I'm going to show up in the room and I, Audrey, like bleed empathy in my work. Like, I just
definitely
pour
do.
It out.
You do. And I
so,
love that about you.
Thanks. But like, it's a color, and it means that it's harder for me to play really bitchy people because I'm just so fucking understanding, and it's just a part of the core of my essence. Right?
Yeah.
And so then I'm going to stop trying to get headshots and footage and all that stuff as somebody who's fucking bitchy, because that's not what people are bringing me in to do.
It's not working. Yeah.
But wait, Amber, you little kitten, fairy, minx, witch goddess. Wait, I have to interrupt you.
Help me. I need some help.
And now it's time for listener questions.
I'm so scared.
This listener question is brought to you by weaudition.com. That's weaudition.com, promo code SELFTAPEMAY. If you are not on We Audition yet, I just have to tell you, you really need to be on. I have a audition due, and do you guys know what I'm going to do when I'm finished recording this? I am going to go on We Audition and work on my sides. You will definitely need some help during the month of May to finish your 16 tapes. You're going to get out of work. You're going to be on vacation. You're going to be at a friend's wedding. You're going to have all these things happen. And then you're going to have to complete your 16 tapes. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. That's when you call on weaudition.com and you have somebody else give you some life. I have booked jobs from We Audition. I will continue to book jobs from We Audition. There are so many great readers on there. weaudition.com, self-tape May for your promo code. Please call 667-ACTOR-70. That's 667-ACTOR-70 for all your listener question needs. You guys, I really love your listener questions. Please call them in.
Hi, Audrey. This is Kristen in New York. My listener question is about coaching for auditions. I would love to hear your thoughts on when you decide to use a coach for audition preparation, when to not, how you make that decision, and any other advice you have around that. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, Kristen. Thanks so much for this question. I love it. You know, here's the real scoop. I use a coach for every audition, and often I use multiple coaches. Now, that's my audition process. So I just want to let you know that's very unique to me. I'm the kind of actor that I need to read it out loud a lot. I'm at a place in my career where I am auditioning against Emmy-winning and Emmy-nominated actors, Broadway, Tony Awards, and nominated Saturday Night Live alumni. So I really have to do everything I can do to be as undeniable as humanly possible. Now that gets real expensive. That's real. But that depends on where you are and what you're doing. I think the biggest mistake that actors make with coaches is they show up ready to have the coach tell them how to do it. One of the coaches that I work with that I have a really high successful booking ratio with, I remember asking them, why is it that our booking ratio is so much higher than so many other actors that you may meet with? And this coach said, on average, people show up to coaching about 15% as prepared as you are. And then that goes up to maybe 25% if it's a really big opportunity. So I show up to coaching as though I'm audition ready. And that's hard. It takes a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of availability. And I've had to schedule my life so that I have that. That means that I'm working, not a plug, but true, I'm working on We Audition with people for sometimes hours before I even show up to my coach. I'm on We Audition, I'm working the audition, I'm taping it, I'm finding some takes, and then I will often send a take of like where I'm at with a scene or the audition, and I'll send that to my coach before I even meet with them. And then I meet with them, and then we work it to really fill in the detail and find some opportunities. If you're doing a co-star and you're doing, one line, 2 lines, things like that, then a lot of coaches will offer like a half hour. But honestly, it's very personal. I have a friend who goes into his bedroom and he is there for like 3 hours and he comes out with his sides that he worked on apparently and doesn't ever read them out loud. And then he books the job. That's what he does. I don't know what he's doing in there. But I wish I had that sort of process. I don't. My process is much more expensive in time and energy and money. So that's how that goes for me. If you currently aren't using coaches and you're not booking, then I would say not great. If you're currently using coaches and not booking, you need to find out if it's your preparation or if it's your coach. I would also say there are a couple kind of coaches. An acting coach that's maybe a teacher in class for a scene study is not always the same as the acting coach you might hire for your horror film audition. And then that's also maybe not the same coach you'd hire for your multicam audition. I have multiple coaches for multiple different genres. So, tra-la-la, it's not cheap. And it's just about like, who are you up against? I want to say this last thing. The biggest thing that I see is people go to coaches, and a lot of times the coach wants to move the actor from point A to point Z. And the coach feels like they did something. I'm using air quotes. They air quote did something because they moved the actor from A to Z. And that's why knowing story is so important. and or having a coach that knows story is so important, because I will tell you, I have been coached and I will often fight with a coach because they want to sort of move me to do something different rather than have me tell the story in the tone of the show or film that I am doing the audition for. And then we fight and we throw down. So if I didn't know story, then I would have the coach just simply move me, and it would be a really interesting acting exercise, but it wouldn't book the job. So that's where it gets really hard, finding coaches that aren't just going to get excited to move you along, but are going to be intentional on making sure that it's the story told through you, the actor, auditioning for the role. I could do like a whole season on coaching, you guys. It's just like, it's a big thing. So hope that's helpful. Good luck, break a leg.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Do you have any questions for me?
Oh, yes, I do. I do have a
I'm
question.
ready for you. Let's do it.
So I have friends who have representation like all over the damn place, right? Like in Atlanta and, you know, in the Southwest and all of this. Now that I'm SAG, is there really even any point in seeking representation outside of Los Angeles?
Oh my God. I love having this conversation with you because I was hoping we could really talk about it for you.
Awesome.
I'm really proud of the fact that you are coming at everything with like such a humble point of view and such a like, let me learn and see what it is, and whatever it is, I'm going to take the steps. I also want to make sure that you are seeing things with a really big vision, because I have that for you, and I want you to watch playing small.
Okay.
There are advantages for some people in some areas to be going and working in smaller markets for a time, or even moving to a smaller market. Because you've done the smaller market, you realize it capped out, and also you are working in Los Angeles and you're getting auditions in Los Angeles. I think that then all you would be doing is chasing lateral moves.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And we don't need you to chase lateral moves anymore. I would be perfectly happy if you never booked another co-star again and you just jumped right over to the next level.
I would be happy with that too.
I think you can do a lot of it because you have the infrastructure of time, energy, and money to be working properly in this way. And this sort of, it's so hard though, right? Because when you see other people doing things and then you see them, I booked this job and I booked that job. And everyone else's perception of you is like, oh, you're working all the time. But you know, like everyone else, our point of view about ourselves is always like, yeah, but it was just this and it was just that.
100%.
My friend did this and this and this, and my other friend did that and that, right? And I talk to those friends and they're like, yeah, but it was just this, and I just got it because of this, and you know.
Yep.
So we all have our things, right?
I'm real good at that. It's just
we all
a
are.
thing, and
It's just like, it's just a co-star.
That was like a month ago.
Right, exactly. And I just got it because I did a workshop with somebody and it just happened to be the right timing.
Yeah.
Of like, they had a role for me and it was right for me. But it was just like, you know, you're right.
And in reality, that's all booking is. And
that's all booking is.
You're just defining booking right now.
Right, exactly. Working properly and then booking is actually what happened, right?
Right.
It is tempting. And I have had friends of mine. I have a friend of mine who has been out here for, years, like Audrey level years, and just couldn't make it happen. And then she did some research on another market and talked to some agents and casting directors in that other market. And they were all like, oh my God, please come to my market. And so she wasn't moving just like on a whim. She was moving on some real research of the shows in that market, and then also the people who are hiring people in that market. And so in 6 months, she's auditioned 40 times for
amazing.
Real television, recognizable film and TV credits. And I don't know that she had that many auditions in the whole time she was here, right?
Right.
And it just was like her category in particular wasn't valued in the Los Angeles market, right? And so that was an important thing. So you could hear that. Any actor could hear that and go like, "What, Audrey, what is that fucking market and how do I get there? Like, I want those 40 auditions." Without really understanding that it's so specific to that particular actor, and that they didn't just move, they had done a lot of research to investigate whether or not they would be an asset before they moved their whole fucking life over.
Right. Really
You are
smart.
getting these auditions and also commercials. So we should talk about that. The vast majority of commercials are cast and shot out of Los Angeles. I mean, the other markets, it is pittance. I mean, pittance. There's nothing there. Even in major markets like New York City, I mean, just the smallest fraction of what's happening. Also, when you look at the commercials that are booking and working and airing a lot in what's called Class A, which is like your Good Morning Americas, your American Idols, like network television.
What you want.
What you want, right? Those are almost all actors sort of between 30 and 35 in their age range, which is where you're hitting so beautifully and you're growing into. And so I would really think that in terms of financial gains over these next few years, and being able to like have some commercials, book some, take that chunk of change and then throw it into your theatrical growth. If you're chasing lateral moves by then going to a smaller market, I don't know that that's the greatest place for you to go.
That makes sense. Yeah, when you lay it out like that, it does make a lot of sense. And I love commercials. I love everything about commercials.
I do too. They're so great.
They're the
They're so much fun.
They're the best.
I agree.
You
I
show
agree.
up, it's so organized. You're
Yes.
like, you make so much money, and then you're like,
know.
bye, this was incredible.
Yeah. And then they're like, we'll call you later. And you're like, deal. Right? It is. And yet I don't want you to just be doing commercials.
No, me
But
either, for sure.
I do think that the Los Angeles market is also really great for your tone. That you have this in your work, despite everyone really wanting you to be edgy and cool. You're a goofball. You're kind of like a little goofy. You're just a little goofy.
Oh, I'm just a little goofy. Yeah. Like
You're
a
just
weird,
like a
goofy elf thing.
You are. You're like
Yeah.
a weird, goofy, sexy, cool elf, right?
That is the best compliment I've ever gotten.
And a lot of what is shooting in Los Angeles is that tone. And you would know better than I do because of your self-tape practice. Like, do you think people are casting you in gritty?
No. I mean, as much as I would want them to, and I've had some gritty auditions, I have not booked anything gritty.
Yeah. And so when I think of the smaller markets, they're really encapsulating on the tone of that area, right? And so when you think of New Mexico, born and raised there, it's very gritty. And you could stand out because if they needed somebody that looked like you, I think you could stand out. But to what end in terms of really career growth? And if you weren't auditioning here and also you were auditioning but not booking, then I would say, okay, well, maybe something else is to be considered. Sure. But I think because you've had 40 auditions and you've booked of television recognizable things and you've booked 3, I think that's very good.
Okay.
And I think let's focus on the relationships here and pop you right out to them paying to travel you.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. Absolutely.
The same thing that happened to you commercials, let's create that theatrically. And I really want to say this. If you can do it in commercials, you will do it theatrically. It's the same system.
Great. I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's go.
I know. I'm ready for you too. I'm
so
super
ready.
excited. Okay. Any other questions that you have for me?
That was the main one. That was pretty much it.
So in terms of this year, we're renegotiating right now the commercial contract to see how we're going to get paid, what kind of benefits we're going to get, what can they air things on, and how much do they have to pay you for airing those things, right? The W&Ws is working in wages, which means you show up, anyone can show up, and the union gives you actual statistics.
Oh, wow.
Because they're tracking everything.
Oh.
And they're like, here's what's actually happening with commercials, and here's what we know, and here's the things, and here's our negotiation power, and here's the things that we want to work on, and here, And so when people say like so much has gone down union, to me, that's often a narrative that a lot of non-union agents are pushing so that they can hold on to their clients.
Okay. Interesting.
And unless you're getting that narrative from the union itself, because they just literally have the numbers. They like have the math for you. And I know you like the math. Then you can sort of go, oh, okay. Because if the math is that it's not that they're going non-union, but the commercials in general have taken a hit because of streaming. And then I were to tell you, but Amazon just started airing commercials on its Prime network. Then what does that tell you?
That there's going to be more
there's going to be resurgence.
Yeah.
Right? There's going to be a swing back in the right direction.
Right.
Right? And so a narrative like they're all going non-union could hurt you because it's uninformed in that you stay with an agent that is maybe not going to help move you up because you're like, well, it's probably just because everything's non-union,
Right.
especially if that narrative comes from an agent that has a lot of non-union talent. All right. And then in terms of theatrical, I would love for you to start working on series regulars in your practice.
Okay.
And part of that is because I want you moving right up to guest star and recurring guest star. I want you like bounce right over.
Great.
Okay. And I find that if you work on the level ahead of where you're going, then you land at the level you want to get to.
Okay. Great. Great
Does
feedback.
that make sense for you?
Yeah. That's where all the fun stuff is anyway.
That is where all the fun stuff is.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because
love
sometimes we
that.
work on co-stars for a long time and then you like, somebody has to be like, great, so you did that.
Yeah.
Next.
Right. Totally. Now you have to stand
Right?
out.
Now you just send out. Now
Yeah.
the next one. Now
Yeah.
what's next? Right?
Totally.
Okay, good. Okay. Any other questions?
No. Not that I can
No,
think
no?
of. No.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, great. Then let's do social media. And I know that you are a streamer, so tell everyone where they can find you and watch you.
Yes. It's at Amber Stonebraker. Like I'm slowing the stone down, not like I'm breaking it. It gets misspelled all the time. And
Yeah.
it's, but
Like
yeah.
it's taking a break.
Like taking
right?
no, like you
B-R-A-K-E?
break.
Oh,
break
right.
the
Like you're putting on the
gas.
brakes.
Yes. Stonebreaker.
So putting on the brakes.
Without the
of
last
stone.
E because it's too many letters and it wouldn't fit. So Amber Stonebraker on Twitter and Instagram. And then I am One Up or Shut Up on Twitch. Total nerd, you guys. Haven't
love
streamed in a hot minute, but I should really get back to it. So
You'll get back to it.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, I know we had this topic that we sort of touched on. And if you'd like to talk about it, I'm happy to, and we can keep it or cut it depending on what you want.
Yeah.
But you had talked to me a little bit about something that you've gone through filming, that you had a medical issue come up. And I would love to talk about that because people don't realize like this shit happens.
This shit happens. You never know what's going to freaking happen.
Yeah.
Plus I was going through it and being shocked at how little I had ever heard about this was really jarring to me. So I booked a short film and it was one of those auditions that I got and I read it and I was like, this literally is me. If I don't book this, I'm doing something wrong. Like this crazy person is me. So I ended up booking it. It was such a great role. Found out later that the script was written for a couple who had just had a miscarriage. So the guy wrote it and then the female directed it. And they were very gracious and let me in on that whole thing. And we sort of, it wasn't in your face that that's what it was about, but that was like the underlying tone. It's called The 5 Stages of Grief. And it was about, them going through that journey, which was really powerful and really cool. I get to set and we're shooting in like 106-degree weather. It was very hot. We were up in Santa Clarita and I had just been getting really lightheaded and dizzy and nauseous. And like, I grew up in Phoenix, so I'm used to like hot weather. So it was very odd that I was, struggling so much, but also like my character had to go through this emotional journey and like several scenes where I had to cry. That's always such a stressful thing as an actor. Like, am I going to be able to get there? I was sobbing, like tears were streaming down my face. And in the moment I was just like, man, I'm a really talented actor. This is amazing. What? Found out a week later that I was pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
And I was pregnant on the shoot and it made all of the sense why I was not feeling great and my emotions were all over the place. And this was very unplanned, but I was ready to do whatever I needed to do to make it work. Found out a couple weeks later that it was an ectopic pregnancy. So for those of you who don't know, it's when the egg doesn't implant in your uterus like it's supposed to. It implants in the fallopian tube. Usually, sometimes it implants in the ovary, and it can be life-threatening. It's like really
emergency,
really scary. So I went from being maternal and like I also have to say, I have this newfound respect for women and mothers. I had no idea what your body and your emotions go through. I mean, oh my God. And I only, I was pregnant for like a month, and I just can't even, mind blown. Like women are freaking powerful creatures. Holy shit. I had to basically get a shot of chemotherapy to destroy the fetus or whatever it was at that point. It wasn't growing normally. It wasn't going to survive. It could have killed me. So I had to do that. But it really, it took me out for like a good month and a half, not just physically, but emotionally. But also I found a really great connection with the director of this short film, because she had just gone through this miscarriage and wrote about it. And I performed in her scene, and we ended up meeting for coffee, and she just really helped me out and really helped me, be heard. And just hearing about her experience with it helped me so much. And I just think it's important for women to be able to talk about this kind of a thing and to feel comfortable enough to not feel shame about it. It's, I just never hear anything about this. So I just wanted to talk a bit about it and say, hey, this happened, and it could happen to you. And I hope it doesn't, but if it does, if you like seriously reach out, even if you don't know me, and we can talk about it, because it's a lot. It's terrible.
I love that. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. It's, I'm like a Google nut when it comes to all things health. Ectopic pregnancies is one of like my nightmares. It's one of my Google nightmares, because I have a copper IUD. And so that happens sometimes with an IUD, is that you get like surprise pregnant, but it happens outside of the uterus.
Right.
And yeah, it is very serious and very life-threatening, and is really, really something. And also the grief in so many directions, because, when you have a health issue and it takes you out for 6 weeks of your life, that's hard. It's hard. Like, we've already kind of been out. We've been out for a while with the pandemic. And then to have things like that occur, I always tell people, like, you have this momentum, and then things like that happen, and then it sort of like, pew, like shoots you off the course.
It can be completely devastating. Yeah. In more ways than one.
Absolutely.
And so it's so important to have a good home base, a good support system, to also like give yourself some grace and understand, like, if you lose your momentum, it's not going to be the end of the world. You just have to take care of yourself, and you'll always find your way back. But just take the time to heal properly, with the right people and in the right way.
Yeah. Good for you. Yeah. I'm really proud of you for that.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. Very good. Well, thank you so much for sharing and having that moment with everybody. I think that's really great.
Thanks for letting me talk about it.
Absolutely. But wait, Amber, you little kitten, fairy, minx, witch goddess. Wait, I have to interrupt you.
Help me. I need some help.
And now it's time for listener questions.
I'm so scared.
This listener question is brought to you by Casting Networks. That's Casting Networks for all of your fantastic casting needs. Listen, you have to have a Casting Networks profile. The premium membership, which is the membership really you have to have, because you need to have more than like one picture up there and one thing of footage. You really need to have multiple pictures on there, and you have as many reels as you need to have that show your special skills, maybe comedy versus drama. Maybe if you have some self-tapes that you've done that you're really proud of and you want people to see you do a certain genre, all of that is really valuable. Really, for me, I can't stress the special skills proof enough. So many actors speak fluent Russian plus Mandarin and also can do a backflip. And you just don't know when that's going to come in handy. And having it on your profile is really important. And this just needs to be like a 20, 30-second thing. So with Casting Networks, with the premium membership, you get that. $50 off your premium membership. And I have had it confirmed through Meg. Thanks, Meg. That if you already have the Casting Networks membership, the promo code still works. If you go to castingnetworks.com/Audrey, you're going to see a picture of my face in a sparkly dress. Castingnetworks.com/Audrey, promo code Audrey. You're seeing a theme here. for $50 off a premium annual membership. Also, I really want to know how you're using your money. People are already taking screenshots and tagging me of their fantastic deal that they're getting. So listen, just tell everyone. I want everyone to get $50 off. Just literally tell everyone. Post it and tell everyone, hey, for Self-Tape May, Casting Networks is offering $50 off, even if you're already a member. Go do it. Do it now. Oh, and just like a quick reminder on all of these, we don't get any like per sign up kickback. This is literally just because I really am like, please save money. You guys, not only do I want you to have things for free, I also want you to keep more money rather than give more money. So happy Self-Tape May.
Hi, Audrey. This is Tina from Atlanta. I'm a very big fan of your podcast. So recently I was talking to a friend and a very prominent casting director's email came across my desk, and I thought, why not email them and send them like a small package? But then I thought, is that appropriate? And I didn't want to impose. So I was just wondering, like, what's the protocol when that happens? When you get a casting director's email, like, do you build a package to send them, or should you just cross your fingers and hope for fate to guide you? I never know. So thanks in advance for answering my question. Love, love, love the podcast. Keep doing what you're doing. Thanks so much.
Tina, no, don't send that email. Please. No, but really, it's a real no-no. Casting directors get like a quadrillion emails, and it goes so far as like I've had friends that are casting. I have friends that are casting directors, and I have their personal emails, and I have given a rep, like I've been like, hey, rep, this casting director is casting this thing. And I've just like included their emails so they didn't have to like look it up and everything. But like, here's their email, blah, blah, blah. We're friends. And my reps have gotten chewed out because it was a personal email. So I don't know what email this is. I don't know if like it's casting director at castingdirectorsoffice.com or if it's castingdirector@gmail.com. I'm not sure what it is, but either way, unless it is an email that they are giving away, there are casting directors that have like actors can bug me at this email. And unless it's that one and you know that it's that one, don't do it. It's considered to be a really huge no-no. So congratulations on getting this email. Unfortunately, there's probably nothing you should do with it except just like sit on it and just like know that you've got it. And that's kind of nice. It's nice. But no, it is not appropriate. And I'm so glad that you called, hopefully before sending an email.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Okay, final questions. What is the best part about the business for you?
Oh, okay. This is going to sound so lame. Craft services. Craft freaking services, especially on a SAG set, you guys. It's the best I've ever eaten. They've got like fresh pressed juices. They've got like any kind of food you could ever want. And it's, and everybody's always just so happy about it, you know? Like you don't see people sad around craft services. They're just having a great time. They're having a great time. Is that weird?
It's joyous. No, it's so real. I mean, Jesse, whenever he shoots anything, he's like, it's really important. And he says it's actually a really low cost way to keep morale up.
Oh, it's great.
If you just have people working 14, 16 hours, but then like at hour 12, you have like a gourmet coffee truck roll up.
Yes.
Everyone just like feels better. If you have like the freaking gourmet gelato people just like surprise you on a Wednesday at like hour 14, everyone's just like, I can make it these next 2 hours. Like,
Game
we're gonna do
changer.
great.
Game
100%.
changer.
You're just excited.
We were on the last thing I shot. It was at night. It was on the beach, and they came around with these fresh homemade soup cups, and everyone instantly perked up, and it was amazing.
Soup. It just is good for the soul. I'm ready. Okay. What is the worst or hardest part about the business for you?
Definitely the inconsistency. I am a planner. I also really love knowing when my next paycheck is going to come, and that's just not happening anymore. And it can be a little difficult and challenging on the mental health. But yeah, it's hard to keep that momentum and positivity through all of the ups and downs. It's just not how I'm used to living. So it's a bit of a challenge.
I think anyone, I mean, one of the things I feel like has been such a revelation and understanding for me is like my little sister wants to be a makeup artist. And right now she's a hot fucking mess. We'll find out what happens in the next couple of years, you guys. But she thinks like being an artist means that you get to like live this artist's life, right? And she has this idea of the artist's life. And I had to tell her that actually it's the opposite, that if you have like a steady schedule and a steady set of income, then the rest of your life you can sort of be like, well, whatever, I'm gonna like be all fancy about things. Right. But that if you don't know when your next paycheck is, how much it will be, where it will be, how it will be, that you actually have to be in so much better consistent shape emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, because your basic life center is chaos. And so you have to have all this structure yourself because the job isn't going to give it to you.
Right. And that's hard because sometimes I just want to be a little crazy chaos typhoon, you know?
Yeah.
But I can't. I mean, I can sometimes.
Sometimes you have shit happen like an ectopic pregnancy and it'll fucking throw you for a loop. And it's hard to not have like the structure of a 9-to-5 taking you, and then your health insurance is there and your job is there. And like, it'll be challenging, but like you have some structure coming to you.
Right. That is a definite challenge to not have that.
Absolutely. What do you wish somebody had taught you or managed to get you to understand when you were just a wee babe entering this business for the first time?
Just a wee babe. Let your freak flag fly. Like, it is not about trying to be cool or assimilate to whatever you think that, you know, a working actor is or a celebrity is. It is about you being your freaking weird ass self and finding ways to bring that shit to the roles that you're auditioning for. Just don't try to cover that shit up. I spent so many years trying to cover up my weird things. And it wasn't until I started just letting that shit out and letting it be seen that I started getting some success.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And what does success look like to you?
Ooh, is this new? Is this a new question?
It's a new one.
Success.
Oh my God.
Okay.
2022 coming at you.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess right now, success for me is being able to financially support myself with acting jobs. That's pretty much it. And hopefully getting to the place where I'm only doing roles that really mean something to me. But that's not even where I'm at right now. I just want to be able to work consistently and in a good way while, you know, being of service and supporting myself financially. And I don't need a lot, you know. I really don't. I've got a very small apartment, very little needs. So that's where I'm at right now as far as my definition of success.
I love that.
It'll probably change later.
Yeah, no, it should.
Yeah.
I always, it's like, what does success look like to you now? Sitting where you are now. What does that look like to you? I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Mildly interesting.
Guys, if you have not gotten a bidet, and I'm telling you what, we got this bidet. It's called Tushy. It cost $100. It's easy to install. I was a skeptic because I was like, ooh, I don't want like toilet water getting on my butt. It's not toilet water. It's clean. It comes from the pipes. I have never felt more clean or fresh. I mean, game changer, you guys.
Love.
Get a bidet.
Love it. My mildly interesting is going to be half bottles of wine. I want to let everyone know about the half bottle. So they sell your regular full bottles, but they also sell these little half bottles. And here's my argument for the half bottles. I'm not drinking a full bottle of wine. I'm not interested. Jesse and I have very different tastes in wine, and he's not really interested in wine either. And the higher the quality of wine, the less the effects the next day. So a really nice bottle of wine, you're not going to get a headache. You're not going to feel fatigued. It's not going to fuck up your skin. It's not going to like mess you up the next day. So if you're feeling that, it's because you're drinking cheap, shitty ass wine. Okay. So just FYI. And I would rather spend like $20 to $30 on a half bottle that if it were a full bottle would be a $60 bottle of wine. I'd rather spend $20 to $30 on a half bottle and have that bottle be outstanding and also not fuck me up the next day than feel like I'm going to get this full bottle for fucking $15 and then have it be like fine, but also kind of fuck me up later. So you can get the half bottles over at Bevmo, Total Wine & More, all of the specialty wine shops. Just ask them for their little half bottles. And it is, I also like to sample wine. Like I don't want to like, I like, if like I have guests over, I like to get a lot of little half bottles because I find that people are like, and what's this one? And ooh, what is that one? And then you get all these really nice little samplings of a half bottle. So half bottles, you guys.
So
Love
smart.
you're so
Best
smart.
of all the worlds there.
Right?
Nobody wants to be drinking a full bottle of wine and then feeling like shit the next day.
And have it be kind of mediocre anyway.
Yeah, no. It's a
Right?
terrible experience.
Like, be like the French. A little bit of really incredible quality and then feel fine tomorrow.
Amazing. That's the secret.
Happy fucking New Year to everyone. Okay? Happy fucking New Year.
Amazing.
Okay.
I have a plug. Am I allowed to
I
do
do.
that?
Please plug whatever you want. I'm
Okay.
ready.
So my husband is an incredible artist and him and his partner and their team have been working on a pilot for a TV show. It's called Fogtown. And get this, it uses finger puppets.
Yay.
In a 3D animated environment. They follow the zany adventures of Sherlock and Bloxon in Fogtown. Yes, that's all that I need to say. So just follow my social media. You'll be seeing a bunch of posts about it, but the writing is just so good. So good, you guys.
So excited. I'm going to end on a little ego bump for you. And I hope that you continue Self-Tape May. No pressure. I hope, honestly, that you're just booked out all of May. And so you just can't do it this year because you're shooting like this amazing top of show guest star arc on a show that they have to fly you to Budapest for. Let's do Germany. They have to fly you to Berlin. Okay. But I wanted to say, after this last Self-Tape May, I was talking to a friend of mine about it and she doesn't participate, but she loves to look at it. And she said, you know who's really good? And I was like, who? She's like, there's this girl on there. She's really gorgeous. But she's really good. And I was like, is it Amber? And she's like, short hair. I was like, yeah. She's like, yeah. And I went back and watched all of her past ones. She's really good. And I was like, I know. Aww. And she's worked really hard. And she just keeps growing. And she's like, oh, that makes me feel even better that she's like doing the work. I was like, this is her third year. Oh. She has been doing the work for a really long time. And she's like, well, it really shows. And you can tell she's getting all the great responses. And I think it's really great for her.
Oh my God. That just made my whole insides warm up.
Stranger love for you. Aww. Because sometimes stranger love feels more validating than love from people that we know love us.
It does. It feels so good. Thank you, stranger. I feel so good.
Good. Well, listen, I'm so proud of you. Always reach out to me for anything ever. And I am so glad that you came on the podcast. And I think I'm so excited really for this point of view that you have of like being of service. I think like the fact that you get that is so correct artistically and will continue to align you in the proper place. I think like a bright North Star guiding you forward.
I think so too. Great. I just adore you. I mean, you know this. I'm like a super fan. Like it's ridiculous.
Ditto.
Oh,
ditto. Super fan.
Super fan. Hi, Jesse. I'm also a fan of Jesse. He's very cool.
He's very fan worthy, I have to say. He's still so handsome, you guys. So handsome. Next week on Audrey Helps Actors, we've got Self-Tape May Challenge winner from 2021, number 3, Rosie Rodriguez. She won and completed all 16 tapes last year, and she is just the best. And because of all of her practice, she then started booking. And then we talk about it. I'm so excited. Thanks so much to Amber. Amber, I love you so much. You are the best. I just love you. This episode was mixed and mastered by Thomas Hank Snodgrass, produced by Jesse Lumen, still so handsome, everyone. It's been a hard couple years, and I have to say, he's managed to get even handsomer. This episode is edited by Austin Grant. Show music by Ari De Niro and theme song by Alok Mehta and 108 Hill. All right, everyone, don't forget your towel.